Hi everyone, I am Christiane Woopen and I'm working at the University of Cologne. I studied medicine and philosophy and now I'm Professor for Ethics and Theory of Medicine. I'm the founding and executive director of the Cologne Center for Ethics, Rights, Economics and Social Sciences of Health, called CERES. My thoughts for you today focus on what leading responsibly means, especially for you, the young generation, facing the corona pandemic and its far-reaching consequences. When I talk about leading responsibly, I do not only mean the classic leadership role in a company, but in a comprehensive sense, the leadership of one's own person when leading one's own life. I'm convinced that this is the most essential prerequisite for being able to exercise responsibility for other people and for organizations and institutions. Corona impacts all of us. It impacts us profoundly, but in very different ways. For the younger generation, much has changed and you have to adapt to the current situation with your ideas about the future, which seemed to be so self-evident just a few weeks ago. Some of you probably had difficulties to finance their studies further. For many, it will be more difficult to find a job. Germany, Europe, and the whole world is taking on debts, which will also burden the young generation for quite a while. In shops, we have to wear a mask. We are all supposed to keep physical distance. Big boisterous parties and many events that otherwise bring us much joy are cancelled. Traveling is difficult, and so on and so on. But there's also the other side of the coin. Conversations on a smaller scale become more personal and intensive. The respectful and considerate interaction with other people promotes sensitivity and mindfulness. We learn even more deeply that we are dependent on each other and must stand together in solidarity in order to master the manifold challenges. And the pandemic shows us, as if in a burning glass, what was not going well before. Some weaknesses are now crystal clear. This includes the economy. Working conditions, think of the caregivers in hospital or workers in meat factories. The fragility of global supply chains, the downsides and shortcomings of economic cycles, and the role that Europe plays urgently need to be reconsidered and reshaped. This is where the younger generation, where you can make a difference. So the young generation, which even before the crisis claimed the great responsibility for the development of our climate, you now can take persistent action to ensure that the old is not simply restored, but that something new is created. A new that is founded on fundamental rights and freedoms and that strengthens democracy. A new that take the fundamental concern of everyone to lead a meaningful life seriously. A new that values every person and respects their dignity, regardless of their performance or skin color. A new in which people do not become the object of technological domination, but in which technology is the means to human well-being and common good. A new in which technological innovation is closely linked to social innovation. A new in which the external growth of the economy is not a substitute for the internal growth of each individual. The pandemic has not put the future on hold, but on the move. This is the time for the younger generation to take a powerful lead in shaping the future of all of us. A wealth of ideas, fearlessness, perseverance, hope, flexibility, the ability to question what seems to be self-evident. All these are central qualities for leading responsibly your own lives and the areas for which you take responsibility. Let us think of COVID-19, a disease that takes people's breath away. Let us think of the racism that takes people's breath away, as George Floyd so desperately reminded us with his calls, "I can't breathe." Let us think of the breathlessness of a global competition that threatens the so precious social market economy. Then we realize that we have to learn to breathe again. I am deeply convinced that responsible leadership means taking responsibility for your own breathing and for the opportunities of others to breathe. Breathing means living. Living means unfolding. Unfolding of talents and potentials. To what end? For what you see as the good in terms of social, economic, and ecological sustainability. If we all lead ourselves through this crisis together, with the will to foster this approach, we have gained something decisive. The young generation plays a prominent role in this. Take it into your own hands. Thank you for your kind attention. Stay healthy and breathe.